personal later, but this is the Dennis Johnson Show, and I'm glad to have him here with me at his time, Mr. Jenkins.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
I'll hold that for you. Having you here with you. I'm very honored.
My pleasure.
So, behind him, my followers, is a wall of shame. He calls this the wall of shame. And I believe in reverse, because a humble man, he's being a Buddhist. He's being a Buddhist right now. But you have many awards of many paths, many roads, many battles. And I can see the success behind you. And he's very humble. Mr. Jenkins is very humble about this stuff. And one of the things about the Dennis Johnson Show, we believe in community leaders, from the smallest to the biggest thing, is very important to us here at thecrossfade.org. So can you give me some insight on the most current achievement and battle?
Well, for 2015, I got a few things going on. One is trying to take my IT company, the Bolton Valley Group, to higher heights. We're also doing, starting an SBA, Small Business Administration, 8A Corporation, which is the Nat Jenkins IT Group, where we're going to be going after small business projects with the federal government. The most thing that I'm really encouraged about is the reintroduction of off the rack music, which is from our parent company, Off the Rack Industries. I've been in music business since 1999. We kind of took a hiatus as my artists' contracts were sold and bought by some of the larger firms like Sony, BMG, Interscope. Took a hiatus, got back into IT real heavy, even took a dive into some mental health stuff.
That's where it's at.
I'm a therapist and working with kids in DC and things of that nature after I adopted two kids that had some mental maladies of their own. Right. In the attempt to learn more about them, I really got entrenched into mental health. Yeah. But recently, my daughter, who's a great songbird, has gotten a great following on YouTube, Janae Daniels, and she asked me to manage her and come out of the woods and get back into the business. Wow. So in 2015, Off the Rack Music is back. We're also working with a group called The Orphans, which is also from the DMV area. And they have a label, B4R, which stands for Broke for Real. Pardon the pun.
A pun in that. Yeah.
We hope for them not to be that much longer.
Right.
So it's very encouraging to have some young, energetic people doing their thing. We're definitely community minded. Most of Janae's experience comes from being at the Boys and Girls Club over at Eastern Branch in Southeast DC. Okay. And, you know, singing in church, gospel, and things of that nature. For me, I've been coaching basketball in the community for the last 26 years.
That's fantastic.
Been successful. We've had a couple of national championship teams.
Yeah, I see the glories around me in your office. You have a lot of Minto.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of awards.
And the last, I would say, since 2003, we've become somewhat politically motivated. I believe to affect change, you got to get into the change stream. I can't sit on the sideline and complain about what the government's not doing. And, you know, this guy didn't do this for me, so if I want change, I have to be a change agent. Right. So I took an opportunity with my company and dived into some lobbyist activity and some support activity for both parties. Fantastic. So on the wall of shame here, it's called the shame here because a lot of this stuff is Republican based, but I'm a Democrat. so I'm a double agent.
That's a good thing because you're dealing with the people, and if people need, sometimes it's not about titles. To me, it's about the work you do. You just got to show up and put in the work.
Well, for me, it's all been about minority concerns. So the majority of the work I did when the Republicans were really entrenched in office in the Bush administration was to make sure that you didn't walk over or walk away from minority business. Right. Okay, and our minority communities. So with that as being my mantra, I kind of got very politically motivated, and that motivation got me on the Presidential Advisory Council, which I ended up being the chairman of during the Bush administration. And then as a result, being an E-captain for the Democrats during the Kerry presidential run and a few other things allowed me to work with Nancy Pelosi in the House and get those seats back to swing to the Democrats.
Man.
So that was kind of great. Then I got an opportunity also through business to travel abroad and assist a small Christian college in India to build its infrastructure. And as a result, they awarded me a sultanship in that Rajamundry region of India. So I'm a sultan.
Wow.
At the actual university, they named the library the Nate Jenkins Library of Science and Technology.
Get out of here.
So that was a great accomplishment because most people have to expire and die before they get named after them. So at least now my kids don't go there and say, well, that was named after my dad. Now we can say it was named for my dad. So it's a great thing to be involved in the process of bettering individuals.
You know what? I'm so overwhelmed by what you just built on and what you've been creating. And the one thing I have to say is this is community power and power of the community. And you definitely fit the bill here at CrossFaded.org radio, especially on the Dennis Johnson show, in every aspect, because this is what it's about, putting in the work and not looking back and not worry about who's talking about you and not worry about who's going to think that, because you're looking at the big picture, the babies, the children, the future. And I commend you for that, because I remember you said mental health. And that's very important, because a lot of people dodging that. Since all this stuff going on in the world presently now, a lot of people been ducking that. They're talking about the gun control, they're talking about the youth. I've been doing segments on basically activities for the youth, because back when I was growing up, there were boys and girls clubs everywhere.
Yes.
There was Merlin Parker playing everywhere.
There was every school.
It was that. I'm a Ronald Reagan baby.
Okay.
And he was doing the war on drugs, and then he's saying, well, we need to do something to keep these babies busy. So it was a lot of funding in every public and recreational, even apartment complexes were funded and got a discount. Until I got older, I read my research, and I found out about this, because, you know, being a kid going through this, you just having fun, getting out of school, doing your homework, and running to the community center in your neighborhood, and you just having fun. You ain't thinking about the domino effect, how they affects each other. But again, you're one of those people who affected a lot of people, and presently now still affecting a lot of people. Education, logistics, and technology, and advance, and communications, mental health. I commend you. I commend you so hardly. I commend you, because I'm one of those people that was affected by that, and here I am now. Here I am right now, and the only thing I love about this show is because I'm giving back, because I had men and women who had the same energy, the same thought process, the same. I want to make something out of this. I'm going to create something for the future and what these babies need. And you didn't think about yourself. I'm just putting in work. I have a skill. I'm going to build off my skill. I'm going to affect the world. And you're doing that. And I commend you for doing that.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate that.
Well, you know, the efforts of mine, but the power and the courage that pushes me, that is behind me, comes from the tree that I was born from.
That's right.
So I'm a product of Georgia, Ada Young, from
Yes.
Capitol Hill side Southeast, which
Yes.
you're aware of.
Yes, sir.
We had a grandfather who believed in community, believed in family. You know,
Strongly.
He was a Superman to me. I had one story that stands out forever in my memory. Back during the 68 riots after Martin Luther King was assassinated, we lived in a predominantly black area, but we had some white neighbors. I can remember a mob of young men and women chasing one young white college student down the street past our house. And all the neighbors stood on the porches in awe and afraid to step out and help this individual, who really had nothing to do with the shooting of Martin Luther King, but he was the victim because of his color.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather, being a community leader and well respected in the area, stepped off the porch and faced this mob of 80 plus individuals and just put both his palms out and said, "Stop." He didn't shoot Martin, and took that young man into our home until the crowds died down. But I was such in awe how he commanded that large amount of people just with his presence. And I always said I wanted to be that type of guy. So that kind of gives me strength to keep moving.
I thank you for sharing that story, because the more I get to reach out to the community, especially Mr. Jenkins, I find out a lot about my background, my history, how I have these things DNA'd in me that I have to do naturally, because I feel confused if I don't do something. And I thank you for sharing that with me, and sharing acrossthefader.org, and the people out there going to listen to this. They want to make sure they hear this story, because we need more stories. We need to know where we come from to know where we're going. And the powers that be to give us the energy and the freedom of mind to do these things. This is what empowers us. And I thank you for sharing that very much.
My pleasure.
And again, this is Dennis Johnson representing acrossthefader.org at the Dennis Johnson Show here with Mr. Nat Jenkins. And I thank him again for coming here. And again, acrossthefader.org at the Dennis Johnson Show. We believe in community power and power of the community here at the Dennis Johnson Show. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Peace. Mm-hmm.